Okay, so in P2, the fire spec for Mage is going to be absolutely disgusting. I'm super excited about it. Stoked for DPSing this tier. I think it's going to be so much fun. They've added in 2 P2 runes. It's called Hot Streak and Spell Power. I just finished going ahead and grabbing them. Basically, what Hot Streak does is 2 consecutive crits in a row will give you a free Pyroblast, essentially. So you're looking at anything from a crit from Fire Blast, Scorch, Living Bomb, 2 in a row will then give you a free Pyroblast. We'll talk about the spec here in a sec. Now, that is insanely strong. Now, what compounds with that in P2 is a rune called Spell Power. Now, Spell Power increases the critical strike damage bonus of all spells by 50%. Now, with Fire Spec, there's a lot built into the whole ignite roll. Your ignite will drive a crap load of damage. So obviously with fire, you want a lot of crit. Now, what's really nice about that is we do get a lot of crit from a few different sources. One of the sources is from Burnout. Burnout is a 15% crit strike bonus across all spells as well. So your rune setup is going to look like this. On chest, you're going to have Burnout. Waist, you're going to have Hot Streak. Legs, you're going to still have Living Flame because it's tremendous damage when it actually goes off. Now, just bear in mind, if you're running a couple of mages in your group, Living Flames don't actually stack. So one would have to go out, the next one after that one had diminished after 20 seconds. So if you overlap them all at the same time, it's kind of a wasted cast. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that you could look at is also doing Icy Veins. If you're not doing the Living Flame, hastens your spellcasting, increasing spellcasting speed by 20%. So that is pretty strong, and it's on all spells, not just say Frost or anything like that. And then feet, you're going to have Spell Power, which is increase crit strike bonus by 50%, as we mentioned, and then Living Bomb. Now, the general idea here is you just keep Living Bomb up. You're going to go ahead and use your Living Flame if you go that, or perhaps Icy Veins. I'm going to probably mess with some Icy Veins setups. Everything else is passive after that. Now, every time that you get 2 crits in a row, Hot Streak is going to proc, and you're going to then go ahead and blast out a Pyroblast. Now, talking about the actual crit percentage, the overall, you're going to get about 6% plus from gear, and that's at a pretty bare minimum. Like, I wasn't fully Prebis and P1, but I had some decent gear, but I'm getting about 6% off of that right off the bat. Now, Burnout gives you another 15. Critical Mass actually gives you 2% per point, 3 points in total. That's 6%, so that's another 6. And improved Scorch. Incinerate, 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 incinerate. I have no idea what you're doing, but I delivered. When Topher asks me to do something, I shall. Incinerate gives you 4%, 2 points, 2% each, also with Fire Blast. So essentially, you're just going to be Scorch spamming until you get the 2 in a row, and then boom, you pop off a Pyroblast, and you just rinse and repeat. Now, something that you're going to want as well, if you can swing it in your raid comp, is going to be Boomkin. Boomkins, they get that at 40. They get a 3% crit aura, so it's 34% crit baseline. I feel like I'm missing one source, and if I am, you guys can let me know. Maybe every three casts you get that guarantee. The other thing is the Warlock Curse of Elements damage, not crit. It's really important to get that. Now, down towards the bottom, you get Combust, and Combust works a little bit different than Retail for anybody that plays Retail. In Classic here, it works for 3 crits. So when you pop this, it's a 3-minute CD. It gives you 10% bonus, so 38 would then go up to 48, and 3 crits will then diminish this buff on you. So even if you crit, non-crit, crit, that's 2. So if you crit twice in a row, then boom, you can pop off your pyro, and then that would probably end up critting as well. So this is just a good way to like build the ignite. Ignite is a tremendous amount of damage. Now, I don't know if it's still this way. You guys can tell me in the comments or not, but ignite used to work in Classic, and I don't know if they've changed it, but it used to be that if you had multiple mages in the group and I crit first, everybody else, all the other mages started to crit, the ignite damage would only go to me, and I don't know if that's been corrected. I kind of quit in P5, so I'm not 100% sure. But you guys can see the rune setup here: Living Bomb, Flame, Burnout, Hot Streak, Spell Power. And like I said, that last one is kind of subjective. With the Living Flame, I'm going to try Icy Veins because I think it's kind of interesting, and that faster cast speed would be kind of cool for 20 seconds. So I'm going to see how that all works out. Now, in terms of like rotation, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but it's really simple. You just basically keep farming Scorches over and over and over, try to get those 2 crits, and you just keep popping off Pyroblast. Now, in terms of spec, we'll talk about spec here really quick. Here it is here. I kind of mocked it up. 31 points you can go into required level 40, so you know that you're having the right amount of points. Now, if you have hit cap, you can go ahead and get combustion, because combustion, like I said, is a good way to start spooling up your ignite roll. However, if you're not hit cap, you should focus on being hit cap. One missed spell or one resisted spell is a lot of damage loss. So you can kind of subjectively remove a point out of combust and put it into elemental precision. It gives you 2% per point. I believe it'll be the same structure as P1, where we need 5% in order to be hit cap. In Nomergon, there is a two-handed staff that has 1% spell hit. Really, really strong. So I recommend any spellcasters that need that hit, go and try to roll on it when you see it. 1% hit on there. So all in all, you need 5%. Whatever way to make that happen, make it happen. Whether or not you're putting a point into elemental precision, maybe you need to drop 1 point into firepower or something like that and go over there. Again, you're losing a little bit of percent to the damage on fire spells, but a resisted spell is no damage at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you have that. But if your percent on hit is really, really good, this is kind of what you're going to look like. So that's kind of the shift over. We'll change a little bit at 50, but this spec here is just going to be absolutely bonkers. Like, I'm really excited to shred it up. I healed in P1. I plan on damaging in P2. The P2 Mage Fire spec seems really exciting, especially with Hot Streak, and the fact that spell power exists. 50% stronger ignites is just absurd to me. So DPS consumables for fire. All right, so elixir of firepower. You're gonna also want some sort of oil for the weapon. Food buff. Could go like a sagefish for MP5 or just stam spirit if you wanted to. And then lesser arcane elixir too is a nice option. I believe you can stack elixir of firepower and arcane elixir, because they're two different, although very similar. They're two different. One is an element, fire element, and then the other one is for spell damage. So because they're two different forms of enhancers, you can stack them. So yeah, firepower. What is it? Lesser arcane or less arcane? I think it's lesser. Food buff. Again, sagefish, not safe fish. Sagefish for MP5 or just like a stam spirit. There's 12 and 12s out right now. 12 stam, 12 spirit. And then yeah, the oil. Oil is going to be a big one. So you're either going to be looking at Nomer specific if there's something that comes along the line, or you could look at, here it is, lesser wizard oil, which will give you 16 damage on your weapon. I'm fucking stoked for DPSing this tier. I think it's gonna be so much fun. Let me know what you guys think, and happy hunting. Incinerate, 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 incinerate. I have no idea what you're doing, but I delivered. When Topher asks me to do something, I shall.